Hello guys, welcome to our YouTube channel, The House of Code. Today we will try to solve one of a very interesting and very easy problem, and which is also popular in Leetcodes, which is basically a sorted color array problem. And here we'll use a special algorithm that will be paired with a two-pointer that we've been seeing for almost a week now. So using these two, we'll try this problem. So without wasting any time, let's get into the problem statement. So what we're going to see first, as usual, first we'll go through the questions, then we will see how we can go about that. So we'll be given, the question is sorted colors. That's a plain title. So given an array nums with n object colored red, white, or blue, sort them in place so that the objects of the same color are adjacent with the colors in the order red, white, and blue. So basically, they are asking us to sort the array. So many of us must be thinking, what's the big deal here? Like sorting is very common. So here comes the trick. So we'll be using the integer 0, 1, 2 to represent the colors red, white, and blue respectively. You must solve this problem without using the library sort function. So we are not supposed to use the library for sorting this problem. So here is an example. So we are given with 202,110, and the output, if you see, is 0011 and 22. So 0 comes first, which basically represents the color red, and the white comes second, and which is basically the number 1, and 2 basically represents blue, and which is in the last. And if there is a repetitives, if 0 is repeating, those things will be adjacent to each other. It will not be scattered anywhere else. When coming to constraints, so the number of elements is going to be between 1 to 300. So, and the number of the value inside the array is either going to be 0 or 1 or 2. No more, no less. It's not going to be any other number. It's just going to be any number out of these three. So they have a follow-up question as well to come up with a one-pass algorithm using only one constant extra space. So first we'll see how we can solve using our problems here. So let's go to our whiteboard. So here we have a whiteboard. So today we are going to solve the problem sorted array. It's Leetcode. So first we will see what are all the technologies, not technologies, what are all the techniques that we are going to use for solving this specific problem. For solving this specific problem, we will be using two things. One is two-pointer, but once you see the solution, you will basically understand it is actually a three-pointer. And the other technique is Dutch flag algorithm. So now you must be wondering, Hari, we have seen two pointers so many times in your previous video, but what about the Dutch flag algorithm? I understand. So we'll take an example that has been given already in the problem statement, and we'll try to see how these two comes into picture to solve this problem. So first, let's have a look into Dutch flag algorithm. So Dutch flag algorithm, it's basically very popular and it can be used for multiple such problems. It's a sorting algorithm, and it's important to know why we call it as Dutch flag. Why specifically calling it a Dutch flag? So to come to that, let's try to understand. Let's see, refer the same problem as well. So in the problem as well, we've been told that we have three numbers, which is 0, 1, and 2. And what 0 represents, which color 0 represents, which color 1 represents, which color 2 represents. And at the end of the day, they want to sort the array in such a way that first 0 comes followed by 1s, followed by 2s. And it's not like it will not repeat, it will be repetitive. It can be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2 as well. So it's going to be 0 is going to be red, 1 is going to be white, and what's the other color? Other color is going to be blue. So other color is going to be blue. So let's say we want to represent the 0, 1, 2 in the same convention. So if you say 0 followed by 1, 1 is basically white in color. So 1 and followed by blue. So basically 2. And we are gonna put this inside an array. So sorry, 2 is 2 are mentioned in uh, white. So it's gonna be blue. 2 is going to be blue in color. So this is if you understand 0, 1, 2 that questions, if you try to visualize it, this is how they are expecting the array at the end of the day to be. So what this color combination actually means, if you see the national Dutch flag, you will get to know the Dutch flag looks like this. We'll have an yellow, we'll have a red, followed by we'll have a white, and followed by we'll have a blue. So this is basically how the Dutch flag looks like. If you wanna have a check quickly, we'll just Google it here itself. Yeah, I hope my internet is fast. So Dutch flag. Sure. Oh, yep. So here you see, this is the color basically. This is the color, and what we ended up drawing. Let's check that. So it's the same color. So that's why this is classic Dutch problem. So okay, now let's get into the aspect of solving these problems. So what we are going to do is let's get back to our original color, which is basically green. So guys, let's try to understand this problem with an example. So what we will do, we'll take an array. So basically, let's say 2 0 2 1 1 0. This is going to be our input array, and what is being expected is basically 0 comma 0 comma 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2. This is what is expected out of this. So to begin with, what we will do, we'll declare 3 pointers basically. There will be a floater pointer, there will be a starter pointer. Both will be pointing in the first element, whereas the end pointer will be pointing in the second. Let's call this floating pointer as F, starter pointer as S, and ending pointer as E for our understanding. So this will be E, this will be F, and this is going to be S. So what we are going to, as we saw earlier in the algorithm, we'll check where the floater is. Floater is pointing at 2. 2 is supposed to be in the end. So technically, we are supposed to swap this value with the end pointer. So once you perform the swap, what will happen? The array will become like 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 2. Once you swap, the end pointer will still pointing at 2. But it doesn't make sense to have it at 2 because it is actually reached the position. So we are supposed to decrement it by 1. So here we'll have the ending position decremented by 1. We'll have the starting position, which is here, and we'll have the floater, which will be here. Floating will be still here. Once floater is still here, we'll check the value of the floater. Floater has become 0. So floater 0. 0 is supposed to be where? 0 is supposed to be in the end. So what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to swap it with the first element, which is basically the starter. The starter and the floater are in the same position. So even when you swap, the resulting array is going to be 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 2. But once you do the swapping, we are supposed to increment both the starter and the floater by 1. So now starter will also be here, floater will also be here. So again, floater is pointing at 0. Then we are again supposed to swap with the starter. So once you swap it with the swapper again, 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 2. So our end pointer will be here. So end pointer is going to be here. The starter and floater would have been incremented to this position. Starter will be pointing at 2 and floater will also be pointing at 2. So when floater is pointing at 2, what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to swap it with the end. And so when we swap, what will happen? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Now what will happen? end, since we are swapped with the end is supposed to be decremented by 1. So end will be here. And since it has been swapped, S and F will be here. So S will be here and F will be here. Since S has met with the encoded with 1 and F have encoded with 1, F is the only one that will get incremented. Start will stay in the same position. So once 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, starter will be here. This floater will be here and the end will also be here. So this is the while condition. So we will never allow the floater go beyond the end pointer. So this is a condition. So our entire algorithm will run inside a while loop where floater's point number will always be less than n. We don't want us to go beyond the n because it has already got sorted. So there is no need for it. Again, this reduces the number of iteration it goes through. Basically, the time complexity will also be reduced. So without wasting any time, now let's try to solve this in Leetcode, and that too in Python. So let's get started. So we have read the problem enough now. So let's try to see what we can code here. So as we said, we'll have a start which is going to be 0, and we'll have an floater which is going to be 0 again, and we'll have a end which is going to be length of nums minus 1. And you know why we are doing length of nums minus 1 if you have known Python before. Never mind. Then what we are supposed to do, we'll start a while loop where what I said earlier, the floater is going to be, sorry about that, floater is always going to be less than end. So while floater is less than or equal to end, sorry, floater is less than or equal to end. So then what we are supposed to do, we will check if nums of floater, nums of floater equal to 0. If it meets with 0, what is supposed to do? It is supposed to swap with the starting pointer. So what we'll say, we'll transfer the floater value into a temporary variable temp. So then nums of floater, so that nums of floater, the floater position can take the value of nums of the, sorry for my typing just like this, nums of starter, not starter. So then the nums of start, we will rewrite this value. We'll rewrite this value to be the value from the temporary. Basically, we swap the value using a third variable. Then what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to increment start plus equal to 1 and also the floater plus equal to 1. Let's assume else if nums of floater encounters with a 2, then what we are supposed to do, same thing. Let's not waste the time here. It's going to be the same logic. We'll just copy and paste it inside the loop. So the temporary variable of the floater will be transferring, nums of floater value will be transferred to a temporary variable, and nums of end value will be given to the floater value, and that temporary value will be transferred to nums of end. Then we are supposed to decrement n by 1, and the floater should not be incremented when we swap values with the end. Then what we will do, we'll have a else position. So else is what, when the floater equal to 0, that's condition satisfied, but the floater is 2 is also satisfied. The only left condition is 1, which is going to be in between 0 and 2. In such position, what we are all supposed to do is just increment the value of the middle value, which is basically floater by 1. Once all this is done, whilst the while loop breaks, we are just supposed to return the nums. So what we will write, return nums. So let's see if this works. Yeah, let's see if all the test cases are getting satisfied. Yeah, so pretty decent. And let's see what's the follow-up question was. The follow-up question they have asked us, could you come up with a one-pass algorithm using only one constant express? Here we are doing it in the same array and we are not using any sorting algorithm as well. So I guess this is pretty much it. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for your valuable time. I really hope you like this video. Have a look into it. But if you face any problem while executing this, or if you have any difficulty in understanding this algorithm, feel free to get in touch with us. You can always have your queries in the comment section. We will get back to you as soon as possible. If you really like this video, please do share it with others. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The House of Code, and also give a big thumbs up. Thank you, guys.